Soon, teachers at Cahuilla Desert Academy won't have to make an appointment at the Genius Bar at the Apple Store in El Paseo to get help on their iPads. They'll be able to call on their own little geniuses on campus who are being trained in music teacher Michael Richardson's class. Okay, so tell me about why you created the Genius class.
The idea was to try and get the kids to be the experts on not just the iPads but the iMacs as well, so that they knew the Apple products inside out, so that as they got rolled out to the whole district, the kids could actually show the other students how to do something in a particular app. They knew every function of the iPad. We've gone into settings and all those kinds of things to show them exactly how they work and how they can change stuff. They're encouraged to explore the apps and figure it out and teach it to me when I don't know an app, which is very cool. It's a lot of fun. And doing the same thing on the computers. I want them to know exactly how a Mac works, because most of the teachers for the last, 8-9 years have been using PCs, and they don't really know the differences in the operating system, and just a simple thing like closing a program. It doesn't close the same on an Apple. So we're trying to get the kids to know all of that, so that when there's a rollout, they can help their teachers with it, they can help the other students with it, and that's the idea behind it.
The class is called what again, officially?
Officially, it's Study for Success is the name of the class.
But in actuality,
it's like an Apple Genius class is what we're trying to do, and but it's also tied to the science department. So we're trying to create projects for our other iPad program, which is science, so that science can get ideas from the projects we make, what works and what doesn't work, through our experimenting, things that they can then use in class year after year, that type of thing with the iPads.
Tell me about a moment when the kids flipped the classroom and were teaching you something.
The first moment was when we were doing Edu-Creations, and we had just done, like I said, we had done a keynote project, and we're talking about text color and the picture behind it and being able to read the color. And I did an Edu-Creations one with a picture of the space shuttle behind it, and told the kids, if you notice, there's clouds here and stuff. I couldn't read the text very clearly, but I said I hadn't had enough time to play with the app to figure out how to change the text. Well, 2 minutes later, one of the kids raised his hand and says, I know how to change the text, so he taught the class. We threw his iPad up to the screen, and that was that. And from then on, it happened 3 or 4 times where the kids would literally say, I know how to do something on the app, can I show it? And they're anxious to show it on the screen, so that's pretty cool.
So tell me how technology can transform teaching and learning.
Well, from a standpoint of the kids, they're excited about it. The minute they walk in 10-15 minutes before my class starts, can we get the iPads? They're anxious to sit down with them. The technology is just a part of them right now, especially growing up. I think it can enhance all kinds of things, especially when it comes for information. That's the biggest thing I'm trying to teach them, is how to search for information, because there's so much out there now, and they really need that piece of technology to search for information. And then to be able to just discern if it's good information or bad information. That's part of the lessons that we're setting up too. I'm enjoying this class. It's something different this year for me, and it's taken more work for me to keep ahead of the kids, because the kids are really anxious to learn stuff, so I have to really kind of work on staying ahead of them. But they're pretty sharp, and they're picking up things, and it's a lot of fun to teach them. I'm enjoying it a lot.
What would you say to a teacher who was maybe reluctant to embrace having an iPad as a tool in his or her class?
Well, the one thing, like I said in the presentation I gave to some of the iPad teachers, was not to be afraid to give over some of that control to the kids. And I told the kids the first day of class that I wanted to be their mentor, not their teacher. I wanted to guide them to find things on their own, where most teachers kind of look at themselves as the information giver, and I would rather the kids learn how to find the information for themselves, because there's too much out there for a teacher to know anyways. So giving that control over to the kids is hard for some teachers, and letting the kids actually come up and do the teaching. So I know that works.
What would you say to a teacher who was who had no experience with an iPad and didn't know what an app was, to reassure that teacher that this is a really great tool to have in the classroom?
I've had an iPad since they came out, and it has replaced my computer completely. I don't even touch my computer at home. My iPad has become everything. I mean, I can create on it. I can, whether it's art or whether it's a paper or a presentation, I can do everything on my iPad. It's like it's always in my hand, it seems like, and it's become just a part of me. I think if once you play with one and you get used to it, the powerful things that it can do are pretty amazing. And I never quite had that connection to a computer like I did before. I loved my computer. I use my computer all the time, but not like I do the iPad.
I'm Juan, and the iPad changed learning for me because if your teacher's telling you to take notes and you can't write as fast, you can just take a picture and tell her if you can write it later on a notebook. Also, everything's on this. You don't have to read a book. You can search it up on the internet.